Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Last Friday of the year, last day of the year. That's nice how the year ended on a Friday. This is a triple milestone day. Not only is it the last day of the year, quadruple milestone day, last day of the year, last Friday of the year. This is also episode 70 of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show and episode 150 total of all the episodes that I've done so far. 150 episodes, huge milestone. So milestones all around, and it's the end of the year, and I feel like we need some fireworks. I feel like yeah. So New Year's Eve fireworks are ready, and I'm very excited that I've been able to do this for 150 episodes. That boggles my mind. Very much like the run streak. This is kind of like a show streak. Anyway, I'm happy that you're here. Sorry for any confusion. I did not set up this show as early as I do usually, so I hope everyone's here that wants to be here. All right, and if not, I hope you caught the replay. Okay, so the introductory stuff that I haven't really done yet. Welcome to the Be Your Own Hero show. This is episode 70 of season 2. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, it's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I am a professional creative and the creator of what we're calling the Hero Ministry Movement. And that's been my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community in all these different ways now. It has expanded and expanded and expanded, including the expansion of this show. So I'm grateful for that. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero and to talk about me working with the unhoused community. I am forever grateful. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please support New Thought Media Network. I'm going to put their website up. I haven't done that in a while. It's I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I tried to touch too many things, I think. Okay. All right. So anyway, shout out to New Thought Media Network. And now that I'm back here, shout out to the people checking in. Shout out to Gladys. Shout out to Nan. Shout out to Lovejoy. I'm glad you just watched my run report. I appreciate that. It's good to know that people are watching the run report. And yeah, Happy New Year. Okay. So clearly this is going to be a free flow Friday because already things are going a little wonky. So Free Flow Friday, the last Free Flow Friday of the year. Today is day 214. As Lovejoy already knows from watching my run report, I was focused on doing something that I've always wanted to do in the run report. And so that's why I guess I was hyper focused on that, and I forgot that I hadn't set up the show yet because I was awake. I was up and doing stuff. I just was focused on this run. So for those of you who have not watched the run report yet, today I figured I had to do something different for the last day, my last run of the year. So for day 214, I ran to Tennessee State University, TSU, around their track. I just found out they have a second track, so I have to find that. But anyway, I ran to TSU around their track, then over to Fisk around their track, and then back. So I've always wanted to do that. It's like I ran around 2 tracks in the same day on 2 different campuses. So very excited about that. That ended up being about 4.5 miles or so. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So that was my final run of the year. And what I decided to do was choose my favorite run story of the year. End of the year, round up kind of energy. So what was my favorite run story of the year? And even after I decided that, I had a couple different choices. But I think the one that I'm going to go with is day 68. Day 68. Because if you remember me talking about day 68, on day 68, that's the day that I decided to stop running. I wasn't thinking about deciding. I wasn't walking on it. I decided. I got up that morning and I was like, nope, that's good. I did a good thing. My original goal was 30 days. I made it to 68. That's good. It's a nice round number. That's a good day to tap out. I don't even need to get to 70. 68 is good. And I started Googling the symbolism of the number 6 and the number 8. And I was going to put together a little post about it because I hadn't planned the day before that today was going to be my last day. But today, day 68, last day. And so I'm planning my post. I'm thinking about that. I'm kind of moving around the house as I'm doing that. And the next thing I knew, when I paid attention to what I was doing, I was fully dressed in my workout gear to go running. And I was like, wow, like it's in my bones now. My subconscious mind has it. And so I went running. Even though I decided that was going to be my last day. When I saw that my subconscious mind was like, nah, this is what we do now, then that was really instructional for me. And I now know, at least the way I choose to think about it is, it takes me 68 days to set a new habit into my system. And you know how they say it takes, I remember how many days, is it 21 days? 21 days to set a new habit. For me, my number is 68. And so I will use that in the future and say, all right, if this is something that I'm trying to learn, something I'm trying to grow into, I am going to do this for at least 68 days to try to set it into my system. So that's invaluable information to know about myself. So that's my favorite run story of the year. Okay, so that said, I'm going to skip around a little bit. So shout out to Regina Smithwick, who has asked me to be on her podcast to talk about money, to talk about abundance, to talk about my podcast, Get Rich 101. I just want to throw that up there to just remind you that the date is coming up soon. Being very ginger with this. I don't want the screen to black out again. Here we go. Let's talk 1943 on January 16th at 7 p.m. Save the date. Okay. Also save the date, January 22nd. I'm choosing that to be the day for the first Get Rich 101 seminar. I don't know what it's going to be. I haven't nailed down any details, but I figured before the year ended, I had to choose a date and had to make it real. So the date I'm choosing is January 22nd. That's a Saturday, and I'm going to fill in the blanks as I go. I've got a lot of ideas, but I gotta nail it down. So save the date, January 22nd. It's a Saturday. I'm not sure what time, but we're going to do this. Okay. So that said, I also want to do my favorite giving story of the year. Right? There's been a lot of giving that I've been doing throughout the year, both in terms of the hero hoodie merchandise, like the actual hero hoodies and the socks and the masks and all of the physical things. And also the backpack drops, like giving things to people hand to hand, and the truck drops, giving things to people from the Nissan truck that was loaned to me for the 4th annual Hoodies for the Homeless event. And there's been just a lot of giving. And so again, thinking about that, I've got several stories that pop into my head. But here's the one I'm going to choose. My favorite story, my favorite giving story of the year was this time that I was running on the High Line. And if you haven't been to New York, or if you haven't heard me talk about the High Line, it's essentially an abandoned railroad track that they expanded physically into a park. So where there would be a train station on either side of the track, it's basically a park, an elevated park. So there's grass and trees, there's art installations, there's kind of like pathways that lead to nowhere, or pathways that just lead to a bench. It's a beautiful park, and it's a very unusual park, and I love running the High Line. And so 2 quick stories together. So first of all, when I decided I wanted to run the High Line, I set it in my head as a goal that one day I'm going to run the whole High Line. And I didn't know how far the High Line stretched, but one day I'm going to run the whole High Line. And I will start at 34th Street and run south. One day. And then that one day that I decided to run the whole High Line, it was only half a block further than I had already been running. And so there's this whole lesson there about the blocks that we set up for ourselves. But I'm not going to get into that right now because I want to tell the other story, my favorite giving story. Anyway, on my way back up the High Line, I ran into this gentleman who definitely appeared to be unhoused by several different factors. And I asked him if he needed help, and he seemed to not quite understand me at first. And then, when he understood that I was asking him for help, and I was asking him if he needed anything, he said tiramisu, tiramisu and steak. Like he had this whole menu that he rolled out. And while I was trying to figure out if I could even make that happen, he was like, nah, man, I'm just, and then he went into the story. I'm just, recovering from working too hard on my computer. I was programming all last night. Like, it was a story that seemed to not be factual based on his circumstances, based on what I could see of his circumstances, right? And I want to be careful with my language because, I don't know, but it didn't seem to be true. But what it seemed to be was he was manifesting the life that he wanted. Even as he was sitting there in his current circumstances, he was manifesting the life that he really wanted. He was focused on it. He was visualizing it. And that just stuck with me because the lesson there is, no matter how bad things are, you can still exercise the muscle of your mind to focus on what you want. You do not have to get sucked into whatever the bad stuff is that's going on right now. Quote unquote bad, because it's all for you. It's all happening for you, not to you. But you can focus on what you want. So that was a very important lesson. I think about that guy often. I've never run into him again, but I think about that man in that lesson. So that was my favorite giving story of the year. Okay, so today's Zen, as you just heard me explain, I was focused on my run today, so I did a very brief morning Zen, but I wanted to read what the Dalai Lama wrote because it was impactful. Usually it feels like, kind of inspirational, but this feels like a prayer almost. So let me read this. This is from my daily devotional Dalai Lama book. This is the last day of the year, December 31st, and here we go. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. It's nice, right? I'm going to read it again. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. That's a great poem. I call it a poem. I mean, it's not written as a poem, but it feels like a poem to me. It's like a poem prayer. I like that a lot. Anyway, so that's the morning Zen. So, and it's almost 10 o'clock. So just resetting the room for the last time of the year. This is now a half-hour show. I'm not even going to do the resetting the room, I don't think, in the new year. Because I think everybody's used to it now. This is now a half-hour show. We started 9:45 into 10:15. And this season has been about abundance. And that topic was dictated by you, the viewing audience, by you saying in the chat, this is what we want you to talk about. And so I'm grateful to you for pushing me into the space of abundance, of spiritual abundance, of finance. I never, ever, ever would have expected to be here, not only with the show, but talking about abundance, talking about finances. Like, this is all new information to me. These are all new rabbit holes to me. And I am tickled that people enjoy the way that I talk about this world of abundance. So thank you for pushing me in this direction. What was once just Tip Tuesday, it was one day a week in season 1, has become a whole season of 70 shows talking about abundance. Mind-boggling, mind-boggling. So I'm grateful to you for that. So let's get into it. So what I decided to do early this morning was to write down my biggest money lessons from this season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. What are the things that stood out the most? My intention was to do a top 10. That was my idea. Like, let me do a top 10 of the best ideas, best concepts. Well, it went much longer than 10. It went way further than 10. So I'm just gonna go through it and we'll see how far we get. Like, some of them feel very concise to me and others feel a little loose. So I think this is gonna be a work in progress. But this is what I got. These are the ideas that really stood out to me. And I'm calling them the biggest money lessons. Okay. Very first one, number one. Money is an effect and you are the cause. Money is an effect and you are the cause. That one really stuck with me. So the idea is, if you are not changing you, the cause, then you cannot change the effect, money, right? You got to take some action to change the effect, the outcome. All right, so I like that one a lot. And I think I'm going to go through them all and then maybe I'll circle back because, if I do my usual tangents, I'm not going to get through all of them. So that's number one. Here's my number two. Investing is not optional. Investing is not optional. You've heard me say that if you've watched the show just about every time, every day, because I am trying to drill it home for me too. I feel like the world around us presents investing as optional. It is not. Just to maintain the value of your money, you must invest. It's necessary. So investing is not optional. Number three, you can't save your way to wealth. You can't save your way to wealth. All the penny pinching and all the couponing isn't going to get you there. We're back to investing is not optional. You must invest. Your money must be working for you. You can't save your way to wealth. That was a heavy one for me too. You cannot save your way to wealth. Number four, $1 invested is better than $1 saved. $1 invested is better than $1 saved. This is really just a piggyback on you can't save your way to wealth. Like, putting it aside is not the same thing as investing it in a place where it will appreciate in value. It will work for you. So put your money to work for you. So see, as I do these tangents, I know I'm saying things that are going to appear on the list later. So bear with me. Anyway, $1 invested is better than $1 saved. Pay yourself first is number five. Pay yourself first. We've all heard this. We've all heard it. What made it resonate for me is the idea that it's not just paying yourself first, it's where you put the money. Like, yeah, you could take 10% of whatever you get and set it aside, but really you need to take 10% and set it aside and then invest it. And then that's paying yourself first, because that money that you've invested will appreciate. And then it's actually your new paycheck. Like, you're building your new paycheck with your current paycheck by taking that money out and investing for the future. So pay yourself first, automate it. Even if you're a freelancer like me, automate it in your mind so that every time you get some money in, you at least take 10% and set it aside. Okay, that leads us to the next one, number 6, know your freedom number. I got this from Dan Locke, and he talks about knowing what number you need, because he says that when he's in a room full of millionaires or a room full of billionaires, and the question is asked, how many of you need more money? They all raise their hands because they've gotten, what's the word he used? I think he said addicted. That's a strong word, but addicted to the process of chasing money. So you never feel like it's enough. You never feel like it's enough. You always need more. You never feel like it's enough. You always need more. So he says, to combat that, you must know what your freedom number is. Freedom number, your number where if you get that number, not if, when you get that number, you'll feel settled enough that you don't have to feel like you're chasing more. So that's an interesting concept. Everybody says millionaire, but what is it? What is it really? What is it exactly? How many millions? how much per month. Break it down that way, and it'll force you to be specific about what your freedom number is. So know your freedom number. Okay. Number 7, this is one I say almost every episode of the show. Poor people spend, the middle class saves, but the wealthy invest. So if you are spending and saving, and of course you are spending and saving, make sure that you are also investing. Make sure that you are also investing. That's one of the places where the wealthy spend much more time and energy, investing in education. Investing in education. Okay, number 8, humans are not wired to choose today over tomorrow. Wait, is that right? Not wired to choose today over tomorrow. Not wired to choose today over tomorrow. I think I got that wrong. I think we're wired to choose today versus tomorrow. So the experiment that I was thinking about when I wrote this one was where they asked the people who were going to meet again in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, are you going to want a banana or are you going to want the chocolate candy? And 75% of the people said they're going to want the banana, the healthy choice. But then when 2 weeks later came and they met, 80% of them took the candy. So it's easy to project right action, proper action in the future versus today. Like it's easy to say, oh yeah, in the future, I'm going to do the right thing. But when it's right in front of you, it's much more difficult. So you have to rewire yourself to be thinking about tomorrow, to be thinking about the future and thinking about it in a way that you can still make the right choice when it comes, when tomorrow becomes today. So you got to practice that. That requires practice. Okay, number 9, money provides freedom. Money provides freedom. Money provides freedom. So any of those stories that you heard in your household or in the world about money is the root of all evil and I only need enough to get by, dispel all those thoughts and focus on the fact that money provides freedom. It doesn't provide happiness, but it provides freedom. Therefore, be resolved to acquire as much money as possible because that gives you and your family freedom. Don't feel bad about it. Don't think, oh, I just need enough to get by. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And this reminds me of The Science of Getting Rich. Like that's chapter 1, The Science of Getting Rich. And if you haven't read the book, The Science of Getting Rich, read that. Also, just listen to my podcast because in my podcast, Get Rich 101, I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich. So check that out. But the point is, money provides freedom. So don't feel bad about chasing money. Number 10, replace compound fees with compound interest. So that means you have to know what compound fees are. You've got to know what compound interest is. But they're both very powerful. If you're only being charged 1%, but it's a compound 1%, you're losing a significant amount of money. So be aware of what compound fees are and what compound interest is. And make sure that you're getting compound interest. Which leads me to the next one, number 11. That's my alarm. Number 11, seek 10%. So the number that we have gravitated towards is seek 10% return on investment for your investments. That's the number, the magic number that you should seek, 10%. And picking up the pace for the rest of these, stop trading time for money. It's difficult to stop trading time for money, but you need your money to be working for you. So you need to stop trading time for money. In the process of doing that comes number 13, use high income skills to change the equation. Spend less time for more money. So a minimum wage, I think, is like $15 an hour now. You don't want to be giving away your time for $15 an hour. If you're going to give away your time, you want to make at least $100 an hour. And you can do that by leveraging your high income skills, which you already have. I promise you, you already have high income skills. You just need to figure out what they are and double down on them. Okay, that leads us to number 14, create a wealth highway. Use your high income skills to scale up your revenue, your income, and then on the other side of that highway, use that money to invest in high yield assets that will return at least 10%. There's two things, high income skills, high yield assets, put those two together for the wealth highway. Number 15, DRIP, dividend reinvestment plan. You need to be involved in DRIP, especially if you're buying stocks. You want to have the DRIP activated because the dividend will reinvest itself into the asset, the stock, and it will never come to your account as a taxable event. It'll just keep reinvesting itself. So activate DRIP. Number 16, the 90-10 principle. We got this from Warren Buffett. He says that if he passes away before his wife, the money will be allocated in this way. 90% of his wealth will be invested in index funds and 10% in bonds. Can't go wrong following Warren Buffett. 90% in index funds, 10% in bonds. Number 17, what's your split? In other words, what's your percentage pie split? That his is 90-10. What's yours going to be? Like you could follow his or you could create your own, but you need to know, just like you need to know your freedom number, you need to know what your asset allocation is percentage-wise, because that will save you when you get a lump sum of money. You won't be trying to figure out what to do with it. You'll know exactly how to divvy that lump sum up. 18, investing $1 today is better than planning to invest $100 tomorrow. Again, this is about now. This is about doing something now. Don't wait until you get some money to start investing, because if you do, you'll be an amateur investor with a lot of money, which will spell disaster. Start investing now with $1 and then learn how to invest so that when you get the lump sum, you'll know what to do with it. Okay, so the average millionaire, this is number 19. Yeah, number 19, the average millionaire has at least 7 streams of income. The 3 that I want to emphasize are dividend stock, dividend income, because you can get that simply by investing in dividend yielding stocks. Easy, you can do that from your couch. Profit income, you can get that by selling something. Again, you can just look around the house from your couch and decide on something to sell. Do that. All of us can do that. And number 3, royalty income. All of us can create royalty income by looking on our hard drive and creating a book out of something that's already there and publishing it on Amazon. It can be done in less than a day, in an hour, really. All you need is a book cover. And there are tools within Amazon to create a book cover, an hour tops. So you can create royalty income. Okay, so what did I make it through? I made it through 19. Let's do 20, and I'll round out at 20. So if any of this is confusing, if you're feeling like overwhelmed, because I was feeling overwhelmed yesterday. I was watching a new video and I got introduced to a new concept about money, and I was like, oh, so many things. If you are confused and you're wondering what to do and you don't know what to do, this is the simplest thing. Just 2 parts. Buy index funds, and listen to the Get Rich 101 podcast. One is about action and one is about mindset. Just 2 things. Buy in index funds and listen to the Get Rich 101 podcast. Those 2 things. All right, so I made it through 20 out of my 25. I think I might continue making this list and pare it down and sharpen it up. And maybe I'll publish this. Maybe that'll be it won't be a book, but maybe that'll be my next pamphlet that's available on Amazon. So anyway, it's time for prayer time. So I'll wrap it up. Let me check the comments before I get out. Thanks for the amen. Thanks for the Happy New Year. Spirit, Friends in the Spirit 111 needs to be part of your network in 2022. All right. So last show of the year. Thanks for being here with me. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate the roundup shout out. Yeah, it was fun for me. And as I said, I've got even more things that I want to talk about. So I will compile that at some point. Save the date, January 22nd. That'll be the first Get Rich 101 seminar. Whatever it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going down. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, Gladys. I appreciate it. Yeah, these are mind-blowing concepts for me, and I hope they're mind-blowing concepts for you. Again, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for prayer time. Stay tuned for Sit with Rev Melissa. Just a reminder, she is on solstice, so she won't be there live, but her show from the first week of being on the New Thought Media Network will be playing. It's her talking about the prayer of Jabaz and expanding her territory. All right. And again, all right. Thanks again for the Happy New Year. Okay. I feel like I don't want to go. I'm just hanging out, watching the comments. All right. Let me go. And I feel like this is a finale. It feels like a finale. So my next show might be episode 1 of season 3. Let's see. I'll think about that over the weekend. But here's a little more fireworks for you. Keep doing. Be your own financial hero. And remember that now, investing now, is better than trying to figure out how to invest perfectly later. All right. Fireworks later.